we already had a very lovely conversation yesterday at the Film Museum, and I'm happy that we get to continue it now in a different setting. And one of the things we talked about last night was the fact that the film is actually based on a short story. And so I wanted to maybe start with the process maybe of adaptation, and also why you chose that particular story as the basis for your first film.
You always have very difficult question for me.
And you always find great answers to them.
Well, I really don't know what to say. It's a very well-known story.
Mm.
It has been made into films before I did my version. And it is, remember, the film was made over half a century ago, so I hardly remember anything. And it's not easy for me to watch my own film. I cannot do it. So, but I do remember the story it is based on a short story which is very well known. Actually, films have been made from the same story. Yes. But I adapted it into my own idea how to tell the questions that I have in mind, to explore, I would say, the human condition that we all go through. So it is really just very roughly based on that short story of Lin Yutang. If we have Chinese audience, you would know. And he's a very famous writer, in fact.
Thank you very much. And so another thing that we talked about last night that I also wanted to pick up on was the fact that in order to shoot the film, you hired a studio. You worked with a studio for shooting, presumably the interiors. So I wanted to ask a little bit about how it came about working with that studio, and also the relationship between the studio shots and then obviously the exteriors, because the film, I think for a period drama, it's very unusual how much it opens up to nature and the outside.
It was my first film, and I was totally ignorant, and I think ignorance was the reason why I worked on the film. So I didn't realize that making movies is so difficult in Hong Kong, where I have left at a young age to go abroad to study. So when I returned, I hardly knew anybody in the film business. But I just pick up the phone and call the Shaw studio, the Cathay studio, and nobody answered my call. And they didn't think anybody need to go abroad to study film. And so it's just a joke. And they all ignore me. And finally, I gave the script to somebody, an actress, very famous actress, who happened to be my older sister's classmate.
Ah, really?
And she was extremely influential because she was a big movie star. And she married into a very famous director. And it was through this couple that introduced me to a studio and brought my script to them. And they look at it, not because of me, but because of them. They said, oh, maybe she's serious, you know. So, well, okay, you can rent our studio. And that's how we started. And I couldn't even cast my own actors. And it was a package.
Ah, really?
I rent the package. You use our whoever is available, you know, and a package for everything, for costume design, set design, everything packaged. So I have to go to at night I didn't like the design that they did for the film, and I had to erase the line that they mark on the sound stage. And then I said, I'm sorry, this is what I have in mind. And it was like that. Because nobody took me seriously, so it's been quite good.
But so you managed to kind of work with those limitations anyway
Exactly,
to kind of.
yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes, it is very good, I think. I think it was a blessing, actually, because when you wrote your own script, you have imagination who this person looked like and that person. And suddenly it wasn't at all what you thought. And I think it gives you a perspective. And I think it helps you. Suddenly you are forced to use something else than what you have in mind. Because nobody would work with me. You know, I call this actress or actors, who are you? You know, nobody would work with me anyway. So I was given those actors and actresses who happened not to be filming somewhere else.
And talking about the exteriors a little bit, because I mean, I think for me, as I already said, I think there's something so remarkable about how you capture nature and how, you know, there are these often these kind of close-ups or detail shots of kind of, you know, whether it be animals or stones or water or fruits or flowers. And I was thinking, I mean, obviously that required kind of location scouting. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the outside and the nature part of the film as well?
Well, I was so innocent that I didn't know that Hong Kong, I couldn't find landscape for the film, actually. So suddenly I had to go to Taiwan to seek for location. It was extremely difficult, I tell you, to climb up the mountain and look for a creek or village or mountain. And then the cameraman, who's Subruto Mitra, he couldn't go on location because he wears a lens. And then if the lens fall out, then he couldn't see anything.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I had to hire another exterior cameraman. And then I sent dailies to him. And that's the style we have been filming. And he understood that I could duplicate it. And actually, you couldn't feel the difference of the style, I hope, you know?
Not at all, not at all. Can you talk a little bit more about your collaboration with Mitra? Because I think it's super interesting. He's obviously, for working on Rise films, he's very, very famous in the Indian context. But how did that collaboration come about in the beginning?
Again, innocence.
Innocence is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I thought, I love Satyajit Rice movies.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, that's what you go to get to make your film. And he just said, okay. First time he came out of India to shoot a film, yes. But it was not easy for him, I must be honest to admit, because Hong Kong is not very open to, even to your own native, that you should not have gone to school. What do you know? You know, why we didn't go to school, you know. So the resistance to working with a foreign Indian cameraman was huge also. Yes.
Oh, wow. But I mean, amazingly, it's not so often that you find someone you want to work with, ask them, and it immediately happens. That's an amazing.
Yes,
you must be very persuasive.
I think this film was really made because I was so ignorant, really.
I mean, ignorance produced something beautiful. I mean, that's amazing.
And ignorance gives you confidence. You have
that's
to
great.
solve
That's
everything
great.
yourself. Yes.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience? Please raise your hand, and we have a mic, so you don't have to shout. Okay, so we'll go to the lady at the front row, and then we'll go to the middle straight after. Go for it. Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much. I really enjoyed the film, and I'm just interested because the film was made in 1968, and in mainland China at that time it was the Cultural Revolution, and whether that had any influence on your experience of making the film and the subjects that you chose to feature in the film.
No, actually, the film was released in '68, but it was made 2 years previously. But I did make a film about the Cultural Revolution. When? I don't remember.
I think it's 1972, but I could be 74. I could be wrong. We can check on Google after.
But
Sorry.
however, it always takes a few years before you could start shooting, you know. So the film, The Arch, was conceived probably 66 or 67. When it's completed, it was 68 at the San Francisco Film Festival, then Cannes Film Festival.
I mean, I can China Behind, I can also very much recommend. It's not maybe an easy film to see, but it's fantastic. I can, as a kind of follow-up from this screening. We had another question, I think, in the middle. Yeah, if we go to the guy with the glasses, and then we'll go to the guy on, yeah. Thank you.
Since I got the impression that language, spoken language, is not the main instrument, how you transport atmosphere and feelings. So I think for me, music was a very important instrument to emphasize what was going on in a human being. Also by showing not just facial expression, but for example, elementary moments like water and fire, light. So could you let us know more about the music?
Yes, we discovered last night that it was the first film that has music by one musician. Most film music, you have an orchestra, you have a composer and all that, but I work with one musician, and I tell him this segment, how many minutes, I need what kind of feeling of music. And it is, I don't know if it's true. Is it the first film that has only one music?
That's another one for Wikipedia after, but I think what's certainly true is I think particularly at that kind of time, the idea of a soundtrack was an orchestra, a composer, a large number of moving parts. The sort of minimalist score of this film is very unusual for sure.
And to be honest with you, when I first completed the script, I showed it to my professor at the film school, and he said it couldn't be made into a film because exactly as what this gentleman said, there's no conversation between anybody. You know, it's all internal. And to me, that is why the medium of film is suitable for telling the story. You use image, you use sound, you use music, you use everything besides conversation. In fact, I'm never good at conversation in any of my films. I usually ask the actors to improvise, and then I say, okay, that's how you say it, you know.
Thank you. I think we had a question here at the side, and then we'll come to the front afterwards.
How did you get your editor, Les Blank? How did you get that going? Did you know him from your studies?
Yes, he was my classmate. Yes. So when the film was finished, because it was done under such a um, at first, no, I think anti.
Like adverse conditions, or
Yes, everybody was looking down at you, and nobody helped you in anything. So I thought it was not atmosphere, and I didn't know anybody also to do the editing. So I thought I would send the negative all back to Hollywood, where I went to school. And then I got my classmates and professors all work in the post-productions. And last bank, I asked you last night, he wasn't a famous documentary filmmaker at that time. So he was just a fellow student, and that I knew. And we had a wonderful time working together, because at that time it's the flower movement in Hollywood. And so we are very free to experiment, almost psychedelic kind of editing. And he helped a lot in that. So I maintained a Asian feeling, and he provided the psychedelic point of that, which is, I think, work out.
For sure. Thank you. Another question towards to the left on the side. You raise your hand again, just so that my colleague can see. Yeah, go for it.
We know from classical Hollywood cinema there was a genre called women's pictures, very general, or also melodrama, often stories of lonely women. I was wondering if in your world there was a similar order maybe of genres, and if your film would have been read more as a genre film in the widest sense, or a more individual art film.
I think he's asking about whether there's a genre of what's called the women's film, or the women's film, which is kind of like a sort of a melodrama about individual female fates. He was asking whether your film would be read in that context, or read more as a kind of like an art film at the time it was released.
I don't think I was aware that the film was about three women as the main characters. It was just a story. I want to make it into a film. And I wasn't thinking of what genre that I should follow. I wasn't thinking of that.
Thank you.
Can you help me answer?
I can give you my analysis. I mean, I think it's interesting how the film, on the one hand, it's quite a hard film to pin down in terms of what it's doing. I mean, I think what we were just talking about in terms of this, it has this kind of period drama element to it. It also has this idea of like, a story of women, but then it also has these kind of psychedelic moments. It has this kind of this focus on visual storytelling, or these moments where it almost, different formal ideas are kind of collected along the way and accelerate towards the end until you have these kind of final crazy scenes of superimpositions and kind of the film moving backwards and forwards, almost like you've been like composing a jazz soundtrack and it reaches a crescendo. So it's, for me, I think one of the things I like about it is it's many things at once. It's kind of everything without necessarily following one particular pattern.
I think I can add a little bit.
Go for it.
I think using three women and helps to tell the story. When a man suddenly appeared in the household, it was quite shocking to them. I mean, it's quite a new experience. And I think that that helps. If she has a son instead of a daughter, you won't have that scene, And the mother-in-law really works very well. I have a scene, I don't know if anybody is conscious of that after the daughter went away, married to the captain, she was left alone with the mother-in-law, and I have a scene of them weaving together, and then there's a tiny thread between the two wheels, and that to me is they are linked. They are really linked very, very delicately together. That fate, that broken silk could matter to their life. I mean, visually, that to me is what I'm trying to tell the audience, but I don't think anybody got it.
I mean, that's you've explained it beautifully. I mean, I don't know. It makes me want to rewatch the film to catch that moment.
Okay. I have my own favorite scene in the whole movie, which nobody uses when they do poses. Do you have a favorite scene of the movie? You like the creek, the running water, I know.
I mean, I'm a bit of a sucker for like nature, and I think a film which kind of like zooms in on that and kind of captures the sound and the texture and the feeling.
That is part of our life, you
totally.
know, and that is why it is used very much, especially in a remote village. You are really living in bare nature.
No, and I think it's unusual that it's foregrounded to the extent that it is in your film, and I think that for me was very much the moment where the film really, really pulled me in. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, I think we can maybe leave it there. Oh, we've got one more question. Sorry, go for it.
Hello, I like the film very much. Here. Thank you for it. And I have a question first. Was it firstly released in Hong Kong and only in Hong Kong at the time? And how was it perceived in Hong Kong? And also I want to say I've seen that scene with the thread. I have lived many years in Asia, and I understood very well what you wanted to say with all your pictures.
I am so sorry because I'm not supposed to fly because I have allergy problem. And then after I took the flight, my hearing is not good. Can you help me?
I can indeed. So the lady, first of all, she ended by saying that she saw the scene with the thread that you just talked about and that she understood it perfectly.
Oh.
So which is a nice thing. But she was also asking about how was the film released in Hong Kong first, and how was the film received in Hong Kong when it was shown there back when it was made?
Yeah, thank you for the question. While I was making the film in Hong Kong, every day you find ridicules in newspaper how ridiculous this young woman was doing, you know, and everybody didn't take me seriously. So I was a joke, you know. Who makes black and white film in those days? It's panoramic. Who makes a screen like that? You know, everybody having fun. And then when the film went to Cannes and suddenly it's supposed to be all right to do what I did. So I knew it. I told you so, you know, that kind of thing. But the critics in Hong Kong, I don't think they got what I tried to say. Not at all. I don't think. I think Hong Kong has a culture that is not feeling culture. It's a very dynamic, functioning culture. So anything that is so subtle or try to be poetic is not in their receptor. I'm sorry.
Receptors is fine, yeah. Don't worry. Thank you so much. Okay, then maybe a very big round of applause for Tang Shushuen. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.